First of all, I agree with you about the use of the dollar as the world currency. The United States, at the expense of the dollar, continues to exploit other economies of the world in its favor.
And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
You said that. President-elect Trump has threatened that those who do not use the dollar, he will impose sanctions against them there and increase tariffs. As far as I know, he didn't say that.
This is definitely a new day for the world. How is it that one tweet from a president can get the whole world shuffling around? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? But Vladimir Putin and Trump seem to be on the same page. A lot of Europeans aren't going to like this, but a lot of Africans and Asians will. A lot of Americans aren't going to like it. Canadians won't like it, but who cares? But I like it because I think a level playing field is what the world needs. What Vladimir Putin came across in how he kind of smoothed out this tweet puts things in perspective on which way the world is actually going right now. So please, ladies and gentlemen, grab a drink. We'll watch this together, and please like and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
That is, if you can watch development. Recently, Mr. Trump has not yet reached his White House to his because many guests may not know that our White House is near us, where the government works. Good decisions are made there and different decisions are made there in Washington. So, he has already stated that if the Brics states use or do not use the dollar, then he will introduce a 100% tariff against all these states. And this perhaps is one such threat to the state in general. Americans have had a nightmare about specific banks. We will banks punish companies in this way, in order to state in the forehead that states will be punished and all products will be taxed 100%, one for a newly elected president. We all know that Americans are very sensitive to this topic because America's strength is in the dollar, of course, because investing money in dollars, if there is no dollar with its positions, will only fail. The American economy, with its huge debt, with the fact that, as it were, the dollar brings huge profits to banks, and so on, is that what you think of the new president's move? Won't what you said finally undermine confidence in the United States, and its policies, and its financial system? We'll find the Brics countries and other states even faster to flee from the dollar and get rid of this system.
First of all, I agree with you about the use of the dollar as the world currency. Brics, the United States has a lot of unearned money. According to our experts, somewhere in the last 10 years, they received approximately $10 trillion, just like that, from heaven for the facts of use. The dollar as the world's reserve currency, well, it's on bets, on placements in their banks there and so on. 10 trillion is decent. Very much it means that they consume more than they produce. This is a very important thing. That is, in fact, the United States, at the expense of the dollar, continues to exploit other economies of the world in its favor. Few people think about it, but it is a fact, and on that part, I agree with you. It's one now too. You said that. The son of President-elect Trump has threatened that those who do not use the dollar, he will impose sanctions against them there and increase tariffs. As far as I know, he didn't say that. I understand that everything that has to do with the United States causes a certain reaction in us. As far as I could see, however, I had no time to particularly look at what was happening somewhere beyond the hill. But nevertheless, I paid attention to it. He said that if someone forbids the use of the dollar and restricts it, he will react accordingly. It's not the same thing. It is one thing to prohibit the use of the dollar and another thing to another.
I think what the world respects about Putin is he doesn't budge. He doesn't budge at any obstacle thrown in his direction, whether it be during wartime or during financial wartime. And what he has just laid out was just a picture-perfect look at what Donald Trump was trying to say. So with Donald Trump saying, if you're not going to accept the dollar, then there's a problem, really isn't that big of a deal. Brics isn't going to be moved at all by this because BRICS accepts dollars, but they also work in BRICS, kind of like cryptocurrency, or whether you're using MasterCard or Visa to make your purchases. You should be able to accept the currency that somebody has, whether it be in BRICS or whether it be in dollars or whether it be in crypto or whether it be in gold or in, who knows, pebbles. I'm just saying that the way Putin has just laid that out, it kind of smooths things over and lets everybody know, just relax. We're looking to operate here in a different direction, a direction that could benefit, say, some countries in Africa that have been sanctioned that, okay, they can't use the dollar for this because their money has been frozen. Well, in BRICS, they still have quite a bit of money in their a nice account there. They can use that money so that this country cannot have power or control over how they operate in finances. Let me know what you think, and we'll continue this.
Don't use it, you know. These are different things completely, that's why. 2 to 3. After all, the newly elected president has not been in the same position for 4 years. During this time, changes have occurred in the economy, in the world, and in the American economy. His political opponents have done a lot to undermine the dollar as the world reserve currency. And, first of all, they did it with their own hands, using the dollar as an instrument of political and maybe even armed struggle in order to cause damage to other countries which are still in power in the Soviet Union, but exist as their enemy. We have never considered them. They suddenly decided that we adversaries began to impose restrictions. And taking into account the fact that the share of SA in the world economy is decreasing, and therefore the influence of the dollar on world economic processes is also decreasing, processes associated with the use of other instruments naturally occur. For example, on Bitcoin, who can ban it completely? No one. The use of other electronic means of settlement, who can ban anyone? Because these are new technologies, and whatever happens with the dollar, these tools will evolve one way or another, because everyone will strive to. Reducing costs and enhancing reliability is an unavoidable process that must be navigated. Lead 10 has nothing to do with it at all, but if there is a further continuation, reducing the use of the dollar in the world and with their own hands, they will, of course, undermine the basis of their economic power. That's pretty obvious. I completely agree with you here. Ultimately, here we are at last. We never declined the dollar. Did we reject it? No. We refused its usage. Yet we refused it, and they acknowledged they struggled and confronted the inherent issues of the dollar itself. Now it's crucial to contemplate our next steps. All of this stems from a confidence built through exclusion. This is equally unacceptable in the economic realm. Understanding the world's ongoing processes is vital. And it is upon this understanding that we must structure our policies, even internationally. Observe the natural occurrences in various nations. Countries, even unwavering allies of the United States, are decreasing their gold and foreign exchange reserves in dollars and euros. It's noteworthy that this reduction has spanned the last decade. The reduction was approximately 13%. This is a significant amount. This phenomenon transpires naturally, and no one. He can't reverse these processes, particularly using sanctions and coercive approaches that are detrimental to the economy and those who initially accept it, creating widespread and long-term consequences. Thank you very much for a new conversation with him.
So can somebody explain to me again, why am I supposed to hate Russia? Because every time I hear Putin say something, I kind of agree with it. It's okay to agree with somebody that you disagree with in a lot of other things, I think. Let me know what you think there as well. And is it wrong for the world to want to go unipolar as far as sovereignty goes? I want to be sovereign in my country. You want to be sovereign in yours. You want to have your rights. I want to have my rights. We may see things differently, so our rights will look a little bit different. Our cultures will look different. Our religions will look different. Everything will look different. People look different. And that's okay. I think that's good. But what Putin is saying here, and I tend to agree with him, is the United States has created their own decrease in the dollar, with all of the sanctions going against countries that, well, they disagree with. So if you're going to sanction us, you shouldn't be allowed to do that because we're fighting for what we believe in as a culture. You're going to fight for what you believe in, even though it's different. Like, say, for example, Uganda. They were sanctioned because of their anti-LGBTQ laws. They didn't agree with the LGBTQ indoctrinations that were going on in their country, and the United States sanctioned them, freezing their accounts, taking their money. The United States shouldn't have the right to do that. Uganda is a sovereign country. Museveni is an elected president, and if their parliament or their Senate or Congress decides on one thing, who are we to say no? You're not going to get any money from that. That's putting the banks. What if a bank came into your house and told you no, you're not going to get a loan because you're not brushing your teeth twice a day? What you do in your own home is your own business, and that's what Putin is saying here. Well, United States are trying to bully people into doing what they want, into their will. And so to say that Brics is the bully here, it's pathetic. And that's what I liked when Trump came along and said what he had to say. We're going to make this a level playing field. You know, if you're a sovereign country, have your sovereignty. Do your thing. We're not going to bully anybody financially with it. We just want to make things fair for everybody. And I don't know about you, but let's just listen to what Trump did have to say.
As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field. Because that's the only way it's fair. That's the only way that you can fairly compete in trade and other things. And we will be on that field, and we will all be working very hard to do great for our country. But it has to be fair, and we will make it fair. I think the United States is going to be an even bigger player than it is right now by a lot when it comes to trade. A lot of that will have to do with our tax policy, which you'll be seeing in the not-too-distant future.
And now Putin and Trump are on the same page as far as Putin. He respects Trump, and Trump, he respects Putin. Here's a few examples.
Not only Trump was subjected to humiliating court procedures, accusations, and so on, but his family was attacked as well. His children was attacked. Gangsters don't do this in Russia. When criminal gangs fight, they don't touch children and women.
President Trump has just mentioned that we've successfully concluded the World Football Cup. Speaking of the football, actually, Mr. President, I'll give this ball to you, and now the ball is in your court. All the more that the United States will host the World Cup in 2026.
That's right. Thank you very much. We do host it, and we hope we do as good a job. That's very nice. That will go to my son, Barron. We have no question. In fact, Melania, here you go.
Donald Trump secretly sent COVID test kits to Putin for his personal use. I ask everyone here and everyone who is watching, you remember what those days were like? And this man is giving COVID test kits to Vladimir Putin? Think about what this means, on top of him sending love letters to Kim Jong-un. No, think about it. He thinks Vladimir Putin is his friend. What about the American people?
From the outset, I can tell you that his behavior when there was an attempt on his life, I was impressed. He's a courageous person. And it's not just about the hand he raised and his call to fight for their common values and ideals. Of course, there was a rush of adrenaline, but a person shows their true color in these emergencies. And this is precisely one of those cases, and I think he acquitted himself admirably in a valiant fashion as a man. I think he was harassed by everyone on all sides, bullied. what he said about his desire to rebuild relations with Russia, to facilitate an end to the Ukrainian crisis.
So we have a very good relationship, and I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly. I really think we're going to get it resolved.
I hope we have more good relations.
We're going to have. Oh, I see. Yeah, but you know, it takes two to tango. You know, and
I think this deserves attention at the very least, and I would like to take this opportunity to offer my congratulations on his election as President of the United States.
So it is a new world, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm encouraged by it. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to see what happens in Africa right now, especially in America too, because America's finances are going to start improving and the economy is going to start growing once again without all of the bureaucracy, as actually the bureaucracy is running and hiding right now as President Trump is putting his pieces in order to just level the playing field and get rid of all that corruption within the United States, particularly. And there's more of it in the United States than anywhere in the world, I believe. We'll find out. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please like, subscribe. We love you. We're praying for you. God, of course, is in control of all this. And the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money, but the love of it is the root of all evil. Therefore, we don't love money, and we will not be moved by it because God is our source. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on the next one. We love you all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.